All right, welcome back, Pro Safety Leaders. In this video, we're going to break down the Elevate Safety Standard cheat sheet. Now, this is the last step on our three-phase process to increase Pro Safety leadership in sites without policy overwhelm, site pushback, or having to hire additional people. And what we've often seen in this step on getting the safety standard up in your culture as a Pro Safety leader is perhaps that what they struggle with, whether it's a site team member or a leader trying to drive the Pro Safety leadership agenda, is the why's not strong enough. They just can't seem to essentially get that drive and the why. And so that also leads to complacency. Maybe folks are just kind of laid back or relaxed because they haven't seen a major catastrophic event just recently and their alertness is not up. So that's one of the main two key struggles that we've seen. And also an undefined site feedback process. I'm sure you have team members, operators, maintenance professionals that have seen stuff, but maybe they don't have a process to actually provide that feedback. And so if that process is not defined, then that's definitely going to be a struggle for you as a Pro Safety leader. So with that said, I'd like for, if you don't mind, Felipe, take us through the 3 steps that we've seen are proven to actually help a Pro Safety leader elevate their safety standard on their site.
I'd be happy to, Joel. So, the first step to elevating that safety standard and sustaining a strong process safety leadership culture is to really reinforce that why. And the why that we promote, that we push here at Safe Energy Ops is what's called a culture of care. It's a term introduced by several, management consulting companies, culture consulting companies. Really refers to looking out for each other in an organization, and it really applies to a site, an operational site, where everyone is working together in some sort of operational capacity that involves risk, right? That involves that safety risk. And so culture of care says, we're going to be motivated by keeping each other safe, by looking out for each other. At the end of the day, we are all trying to go home safely the way that we came to work. And if I am looking out for you, Joel, you're looking out for me, we're going to be motivated by that because I don't want to see anything bad happen to you, right? Or that might affect your family, such as a serious injury, and then same for you to me, right? And so, leaders must really embody this culture. It starts with process safety leaders, and that, of course, spreads to the rest of the workforce. And so that's the why that we really push for when it comes to process safety, because it's really, we found to be one of the strongest, not the strongest, reasons that can really sustain that attention, that energy, and that sense of why we are caring so much about process safety, why it's going to sustain itself as a priority in our agenda and in our organization. So that's tackling the why there. Step 2, instill a chronic sense of unease. This is getting at, the complacency struggle. After some time of relatively low periods of process safety incidents, which is great. And let's say that you've implemented the steps in this framework, you've seen progress, and you've enjoyed some time of stability in terms of process safety. What can unfortunately happen due to human nature is that complacency. Complacency can start to creep in, and that can cause your focus to start shifting away from process safety, start reverting back, to the old habits of just getting activities done. And what you want to do as a process safety leader is you want to find ways to instill a chronic sense of unease. What that means is that vigilance, that awareness of process safety hazards that has you a little bit always on edge, that a little bit with your senses heightened, looking for those potential process safety risks. And how you're going to do this is, holding regular safety walkdowns. This means making it a point and purposefully on a regular basis, going out as a process safety leader, even better as a group, if you can do it as a group, and walk down your site looking for process safety hazards. You're going to be walking down pieces of equipment, your process, and looking for things that could pose a process safety hazard in the future or is currently posing that hazard, and of course, following up on those through your normal workflow processes. Discussing safety observations daily. Hopefully you have a safety observation program at your site that allows anyone to make an observation that they might have seen throughout the day that might pose a safety hazard. And, we're focused here on process safety. Of course, there's personal safety That's very important. And of course, these observations are made about both. But, oftentimes there are process safety observations made, such as I just noticed walking through the lower deck today that there's quite a bit of external rust on a piece of natural gas piping. And, I don't really see us doing anything about it. It doesn't seem to be on anyone's radar. And so, of course, that needs to be followed up on. And that is the sense of vigilance that we were looking for, and that chronic sense of unease. Instead of walking by it, because I'm used to seeing it, or I'm just not looking for it because I'm focused on my task, you want to maintain that vigilance of the surroundings and awareness of potential hazards, and presenting regular safety moments. We talked about this in establishing a safety case, and the importance of bringing up major process safety incidents, either from your particular site, other sites within your organization, or events from history. Bringing those up on a regular basis is going to remind and refresh people on what can go wrong in the type of work that we do in the sites that we work at. And that is also going to maintain a chronic sense of unease, just that reminder of what can go wrong. Finally, step 3 is really geared toward making sure that as a process safety leader, you're not assuming that everything is going well when in fact it's not. And so as a process safety leader, you've implemented certain process safety strategies, taken from this framework, for example, and you think everything is going well, but we really can't rely on even our own observations when it comes to how well something is going at a site. You really need to get that feedback from the site personnel that are on the ground. And so you want to provide channels for site personnel and, support personnel in the office to provide that feedback on how is our process safety performance going, and how is our process safety strategies, how effective are they? Consider making those feedback channels anonymous, just to make sure you get that honest feedback and there's no pressure, no fear for maybe repercussions. And of course, you need to take that feedback seriously and adjust accordingly. Perhaps you thought that certain strategy, the way that you're displaying KPIs, perhaps, or the way that you streamline your workflow processes were going very well. And, you get that feedback and it turns out that there are things that aren't going that well, or ways that it can be improved. And that's what the sustain phase is all about. Continuously looking for ways to improve and making people feel like they have a voice, which is only going to strengthen their motivation to continue improving process safety and keeping up that process safety leadership culture. So those are the 3 steps for elevating the safety standard. Hopefully it provides some value.
Awesome. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you for the detailed walkthrough of those steps. And again, like Felipe mentioned, this is only one small step out of 9 in our process safety leadership framework by Safe Energy Ops. And maybe you need some safety moments. Maybe you don't have a process safety leadership dashboard. Well, let me show you how to get it. If you go to our website, safeenergyops.com, and you join our free community, you'll be able to actually interact and take up on the challenge where we walk you through each of these steps and actually get a visual that you can discuss with your team, with your peers, with your management around the process safety leadership health of your site. All right. So this is 100% free, increase your process safety leadership challenge. You simply go to safeenergyops.com. You can click join our free community here, and it'll lead you here. We just need some very basic information, and that will grant you access to our community. And if you need help, if you believe that your company is at the point that you want help actually executing this framework and actually closing those gaps that you identify as part of the challenge, you can click Process Safety Leadership Strategy Call, and we could just hop on a quick friendly call just to see where you're at and see if we could help you with your site's process safety leadership. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Do we have any parting words for our audience regarding Elevate the Safety Standard, Felipe?
Well, Elevate the Safety Standard is about sustaining that process safety leadership culture for the long term. So if you've reached that point, it's a great point to be at, a great focus point for implementing the framework that we've discussed here. So hopefully you reach out and we can work together to make that a reality.
All right. So next video, talk to you later.